the way. We are at the Tampa Convention Center with Gina Loudon, and we have a special guest here. Good to see you, sir. Tell me your name again, because I forgot, because I'm old.
My name is Greg ASELBEKIan. I'm with Veterans for America First.
We knew you were going to talk about veterans for sure. Tell us a little bit about why you're here. Is this the first time you've been to a Turning Point event?
Oh, God, I go to these conventions
all the time.
All the
My
time.
bad. I'm always the last to know.
I lose track, but these events are always great. We get to see our favorite people run for Congress, get to see our friends we haven't seen in a while, and we get to see our favorite media like Real America's Voice.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you. So one thing I wanted to bring up with you immediately was we have a veteran running for governor of New York who was attacked. It is so mind-boggling to me what happened. Let me roll tape, and then I want to have this discussion with you.
Put him in actual handcuffs. As they're starting to walk him away, he turned to me and to a few of us and said that he was an Iraq war veteran. And my mind shifted instantly from trying to make sure this guy doesn't hurt others or myself to back to a veterans advocate. And that's what I do as my day job. I'm the National Executive Director for AMVETS, National Veterans Organization, and instantly put the veterans advocate hat back on. And I told him then, I said, you know, if you need help, if you need services, they're out there. You've done something pretty serious tonight. You're going to have to deal with this, but we're going to make sure you get the services and the care you need. And I want you to reach out to me once you're through this process. And you know, he just kind of looked at me, and the police took him away. But it was very clear to me during those 5 minutes of holding him down that he was in a mentally distraught spot, and that he wasn't acting as I would think he normally might, not knowing him prior to that, but his behavior was very abnormal, and to me it seemed very indicative of someone who's having a mental health crisis. So today, thinking back on this, started reaching out. The director of County Veterans Services was right there at this scene last night as well, and we started talking, started doing some looking at who this person is. We found that he's a veteran, Army veteran, with a couple deployments to Iraq in the medical corps of the Army, which, you know, can often mean he's seen some of the worst. So we've been working to make sure he has the services provided. Talked to the Secretary of the VA today in that regard to ensure that if he wants help, there'll be help available for him. And we haven't been able to reach him himself yet today, although he was released from jail overnight. He was just given an appearance ticket for this, which is, you know, a whole nother conversation. But at this point right now, we're trying to connect him with the help we think he needs.
So, Greg, basically the attacker was a veteran. It struck certainly this guy, Joe, in the interview. Are you surprised by that? I mean, we have a massive suicide rate right now among veterans. We have more in resources, compassion, aid, really, you name it, going to illegals coming in our country, some of them actually military officers from foreign enemy countries, Greg, coming in. And then we wonder why our veterans are struggling right now when they're not even getting, look at the homeless rate among veterans.
Yep.
I mean, the list goes on and on. Speak to this.
So it's a very interesting point that you brought up, and that's part of the reason why I joined Veterans for America First. So what we do is, our mission is to basically fix the homeless veteran problem, fix the jobless veteran problem, and most recently, where we know that mental health is a thing,
yes,
and that kind of stems with something, it stems with people don't have access to places of worship. So we just recently launched the Pastor Corps with Veterans for America First. We ran the
I love that.
We ran the idea by Eric.
Did you know this?
No, I had no idea.
This goes right to what we were talking about this morning.
Exactly.
You are so, this is so amazing. I'm sorry, keep going.
Absolutely. So we thought of the idea 2 weeks ago. We were with some of our members with Eric Trump, and we pitched it to Eric Trump, and Eric Trump was ecstatic. He loved it. He said, go for it. So we did. Since then, we've recruited Pastor Mark Burns, Pastor Jerome Davidson, and Father Altman. So we have 3 key people that already have agreed to do this. So what we're going to do is reach out to these veterans who are struggling to find a place of worship. And we're going to reach out. We're going to find them something local to them and get them what they need and get them the services they need. And I mean, in addition to that, do the things we do, place them in jobs, get them help if they're homeless, set them up with resources that are local to them, and get them back on the feet. Because like what you were saying before, illegal immigrants get more benefits than any, you can be the most decorated soldier, Marine, airman, or whoever coming back. At the end of the day, illegal immigrants, they walk across the border, get health care, they get a smartphone, they get housing, they get public education for their school, they even get to vote. Their vote is probably more secure too, because we see what happens to the military ballots when they vote. It's insane.
That's a good point. And it reminds me of de Tocqueville when he came over and he observed America and he talked about platoons in essence. The communities, that it's important to do it at the community level rather at the federal level. And this is exactly what you guys are doing. I mean, you're organizing at the local level, if you will. And you can take it national, great. But that is the key. And you mentioned mental health and the faith aspect. Talk to me a little bit about the connection between the two, because I think a lot of people will say, mental health, and you go to just like a kind of a secular psychologist, but there's or psychiatrist, there's something to be said about the faith component in all of this.
Absolutely, and when you are in the military, you do feel alone. I mean, I was in for just a short time, but a lot of people, they go into basic training or boot camp, at such a young age. Some of them aren't really religious. A lot of people, and I can count firsthand experience, they find God in the military, whether it's basic training, whether it's, your infantry school, whether it's once you do, further, you're on a deployment. You almost guarantee, if you're not religious, you will find God. Because there are times in the military, you're alone, it could be 18 years old, first time you're away from your parents, you're in some foreign country. You have nobody there, you're lonely, you look for another relationship, and you find a relationship with God, or, whoever you choose to worship, and that's usually what happens. And when you get out, you also need that coach, God, to be there with you when you get out to get you through some hard times. You need somebody to pray to and stuff like that. And if you don't, you could feel lonely. And once you feel lonely, that's when the depression hits. That's when the negativity, that's when the suicidal thoughts hits. You get 22 veterans or active military taking their lives a day. That is the real pandemic in this country, and for some reason, nobody seems to care. For some reason, Congress does nothing about it. All they do is send money to Ukraine or to the illegal immigrants. They do nothing for our veterans, so if they're not stepping up, somebody is going to step up, and that's going to be us.
Yeah, that's awesome. The no atheists in a foxhole thing still holds true, doesn't it? But you really do have to bring it to them, because today there's so much indoctrination in the military. I was talking to a friend of mine whose son is a very high up West Point officer in the military, and she was telling me how inundated he is with the whole woke agenda.
Glad you said that.
Yeah, and so you really have a battle on your hands now, don't you? Because they're taught that everything we believe as Christian patriots is what's wrong.